cheeky monkeys. This is Bergkamp Wonderland, a World Cup special podcast, part 2. I know I said the last one was part 2, but it wasn't. This is actually part 2. And with us tonight, we have Dom in Australia.
Good evening.
With us this afternoon, we have John in Spain.
Hola, chicos.
And also in the afternoon, we have Kris in sunny Plymouth.
What's up?
Right then, ladies. We the last time we did the podcast, it was on during the Brazil 0, Mexico 0, which was a god-awful game. So we have from Russia, the game was Russia 1, Korea Republic 1, all the way down to last night's game. So we've had a little chat and we've decided we're going to do it in order of the groups and the games that have been played so far. So the first one is Brazil 0, Mexico 0. Has anyone got anything to say about that awful, boring, terrible game?
Not a lot, other than people choose the worst times in the world to ring my house phone. Sorry about that.
I think everybody got on that Ochoa bandwagon.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this,
but that's about it. I mean, besides that, I think, both teams were pretty
it's just so much is expected from Brazil, and when games like that happen, much like the later on we talk about the Argentina one, when their teams just they can't go out there and play. There's so much expectation on them. It's so hard for them. But I was really surprised that Brazil didn't do anything about that against Mexico. And the game after that was one of my favourite games so far in the competition. Was Cameroon 0, Croatia 4. Did you watch that, Dom?
I don't think I did. Oh, actually, no, I did. I saw a little bit of that at work. Mandzukic scored a couple of goals, and I was sitting there thinking, oh, no, now people are going to think he's good.
He is good, though, isn't he? Doesn't anyone like him?
He's just Giroud.
Mm.
I mean, with a little bit better finishing, obviously, but...
Not as nice hair.
Not as nice hair. And without the midnight hotel ROMs, surely. But, yeah, he's just a Giroud. Why would you want a carbon copy at your club?
Because he is available, isn't he? Go on, Kris.
I think we have to mention the assault by Alex Song, don't we, in that game?
Oh yeah, that was sad.
If anyone ever needed an explanation as to why Arsene Wenger didn't think his attitude was correct to stay at Arsenal, I think that was summed up very nicely in that little motion of an elbow to the lower back. It was just so desperate, wasn't it, and just so ridiculous, and that really it did cost them that game.
Well, that's even illegal in the UFC, isn't it? You get a point taken away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great point.
Well, he's so desperate for playing time. I mean, the only thing that he does at Barcelona is wipe the benches clean before and after the game. So, he's so desperate to do something. It was so clear. The desperation was so visible.
If anybody didn't see it, he was running down the left-hand side of the pitch after one of the Croatia players, and then he brought his elbow up as he ran after the bloke and scraped his elbow down the back of the bloke's back, wasn't it? That was the gist of it.
Yeah, there's a brilliant GIF file going around of someone who's superimposed a knife into his hand and blood flying out the back of the player. It's just really quite good.
But I thought Croatia, it's nice to see Eduardo come on and then get booked right near the end. Didn't really do much, but in a game like that, it's nice to see him playing and still doing a job at top level.
Absolutely.
So then, do you think to Croatia? Do you think they're going to go much further in this competition?
That last match is going to be everything, isn't it?
Which one?
Mexico versus Croatia, winner take all, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Brazil are definitely through there. Well, actually, could it be if they drew?
It could arguably be one of three, but I think the problem you've got is Brazil will pretty much bend over and smash Cameroon. So bend Cameroon over, I should say. If
Mexico and Croatia draw, then they'll have 5 and 4 points respectively. If Cameroon beat Brazil 6-0, then Brazil don't go through.
Danny, if Cameroon beat Brazil 6-0, I will quite happily run around Plymouth naked.
Oh, don't! You've got the
waving a Cameroon flag above my head. There's no chance of that.
So the final group game matches in that one all kick off on Monday the 23rd at 9 p.m. UK time. So we're gonna. Who's everyone going to pick between Croatia and Mexico?
I think you have to go Croatia.
Croatia, yeah.
What did you say, John?
Croatia, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So in that group, it's going to be Brazil, Croatia going through. Right, we've got the next group, which is Group B, because that's how these things work. Dom, tell us a little bit about the Australians 2, the Netherlands 3.
Oh, what a joke that was.
It's fantastic. I loved it.
Oh, it was a great game, but as far as being an Australian supporter, it was you're quite proud of how the guys have gone. I think everyone thought we'd just be the whipping boys in that group, but I think even against Chile we were unlucky to lose that 3-1. I think that we could have just about gotten a draw out of that, had some good chances. But the Netherlands game was, as a neutral, would have been great to watch, but I think we were a little bit unlucky again to not at least get a draw out of that at 2-2. A cross came in and Matthew Leckie decided to chest the ball towards goal rather than head it, and then they went down the other end straight away and scored a goal to go 3-2 up. So, it was obviously a good game. I think the biggest surprise in that group would be Spain and how terrible they've been.
That's been funny though.
Yeah.
Oh, it has.
Should also be pointed out that in that Australia game, two incidents. Probably the goal of the tournament from Timmy Cahill. I mean, that was just if Messi or Neymar hits that, it's cream all round, isn't it? Let's be honest.
On a part volley, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic goal. In off the bar always looks nice. On his left. And the other thing to mention is a certain cretinous bastard that we won't give any airtime to really shouldn't have been on the pitch to score that goal.
No,
so
second booking, shouldn't it?
Just put. Well, I mean. He could have argued.
Second booking, or was it a straight red?
It should have been a red. I thought there was a clear bringing the elbow up to the face. I forget the Aussie player that was involved, but it was
been 2 reds. You can't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure we'll come on to controversial red cards later, but it really could have been a red, and that would have changed the whole complexion of the game. But like Dom said, the Leckie chance was the one that really was the chance.
What did you see these games, John?
Yeah, I saw. I mean, I thought the third goal for the Netherlands was kind of a cruel, just swerving shot right into the corner.
I think the keeper should have probably done a bit better there, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. That closed down a little bit better, but I thought it was such a cruel, final score that with everything that Australia gave in that match and the way that they played the whole 90 minutes, I thought for sure they were going to get a draw out of it.
Don, when did Schwarzer retire?
Not too long ago. I think he basically probably got a bit of a tap on the shoulder from Ange Postecoglou when he took over and just sort of said, look, we're going to be obviously going with some youth from now on, and I think that kind of made his decision for him. The goalkeeper that Australia have got, he's Matt Ryan. He's a decent standard. He got one goalkeeper of the year in the Belgium league, so he's a good goalkeeper. I think he just... there's been a couple of things that he's done that he probably would like to do again.
I see they were runner-up. He's with Club Brugge and they were runner-up in the Belgian league.
Mm-hmm.
After having quite good, it says he won the Australian league with Central Coast. Is it Mariners? It doesn't say the rest of it after that in 2012-13. So it does look like a half decent goalkeeper. But do you think that if you'd have, he's 22. Do you think if you'd have had Schwarzer, do you think if he'd have stuck on, that Schwarzer would have wouldn't have let in 3 goals, or as it is 5? Is it 5 or 6 you've let in now?
5, 2-1 and 3.
I don't know. The one that really stung me.
3-1 and 3-2.
So yeah, the Netherlands one. And I think even actually one of the third Chile goal as well. But it was more the Netherlands one right at the very, the end there, the winner that they got. I just, I think maybe he's a good enough goalkeeper to stop that. I think it was just a bit of a miscalculated dive, and it just sort of snuck past. But
aside from that Australia, just completely coming out and playing 2 really good matches, what do we all think about Chile?
Yeah,
well, you made me some money that night, didn't you, John? So I have to give you credit. Pre-game we were all chatting, and John pulled out the little gem of what was the odds of Chile to beat Spain by 2, and I think it was it 7-1, John?
I think you bet it 10-1.
10-1. I know I only put 3 or 4 quid. I put 3 quid on it. That's right. So it's 30 quid back. Thank you very much. Not that we entice gambling to people, but encourage. But I mean, Chile, they're fantastic to watch, aren't they?
2 shots on goal, 2 goals.
Yeah, and 2 really good goals as well. And the thing that really showed for me was just how little Spain offered. I mean, they just looked a shadow of a side. The body language was all wrong.
Costa.
Oh dear.
In the first match.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the second match was even worse.
He's made Torres feel a lot better though, hasn't he?
And I mean,
it can't be that bad.
the talent that Spain have, it's amazing to see. I mean, I remember the French side not getting out of the group the last time they won the World Cup, but this, for me, Spain has been even worse just because of how good they've been. And I think the truth is that this is the year they've been found out, and there's going to have to be a lot of changes for them to get back to where they are.
And I've never seen Vidal play, but I still think he's shit. Who sent you that tweet? That is legendary. Some moron.
I'm not going to give any Cretan any airtime, but what I think, and Kris and I were talking about it the other day. I don't know if you guys concur. That side lacks so much pace in midfield.
Yeah.
That the transitions from having, from trying to keep the ball and when they get pressured at all, they can't recuperate. I mean, it's like watching a team full of Artetas out there.
Do you hear on the radio over here they were doing saying that Spain are known for their tiki-taka, and that Mexico are now known for their tiki-taco, and Japan for their tiki-tokyo, and they had about 5 or 6 teams. But after this, Xavi Alonso has announced he's retired. Do you think anyone else is going to retire from that squad, John?
Wow, I mean, you have to look at
Torres.
Puyol's gone.
David Villa gone yet?
Villa was a part of this squad. I can't see him being a part of it in 4 years. Xavi surely won't be there. I mean, Xavi is fucking off to Qatar.
Even Iniesta.
Iniesta will still. I think he'll still be there, but it might be his last one.
Yeah. They dropped PK. That's a sign.
Busquets needs to fuck off as well.
Jeez, I always wondered why Busquets was so cheap on FIFA. Now I know why, because he's rubbish.
I think the player that Kris and I mentioned before the final roster was done for Spain. Iturraspe would have made a hell of a difference, just because he could not only defend, he had a little bit of pace about him, but he had a good final ball. I think, we're being a little harsh on Costa. He didn't get the supply that he usually does, but, with a hardworking Atletico Madrid team. But at the same time, wow, whatever he did get, he didn't do much with it.
Because he's coming to Chelsea, isn't he? And he's done brilliant at Atletico because they play to his strengths. Spain don't play to his strengths, and I don't think Chelsea will either.
I think it was one of the pundits was saying, wasn't they, on BBC? I think it was Clarence Seedorf, who by and large speaks quite a lot of sense, and he was saying that, as you rightly say, Danny, Spain just don't play balls in behind. They aren't looking for the sort of the physical attributes that Costa brings. They're still sort of trying to play. They're almost trying to incorporate Costa into their style of possession football and scoring the perfect goal. And Costa just isn't that sort of striker.
They haven't had a. Sorry, John. They haven't had a goal-scoring striker for a while. I mean, you look at the World Cup they won and the European Championship. They haven't had an out-and-out goal scorer up top that they've been feeding anyway. So
not since Emilio Butragueño.
Villa was the main guy playing off of the wing, and they played more false 9 systems with Sask and all that bit. But I think just like you guys mentioned, I don't think Chelsea played the type of football that Costa's going to excel with. If you look at a Willian and a Salah and off on the right and Hazard and Oscar, and I mean, I don't see it being straight out and out that he's going to be put in the middle of a lot of talented players and he's going to shine. I think this World Cup was proof of that.
I wonder if perhaps that's why they bought Cesc Fabregas. I wonder if
I was about to say that.
I think he's if you look at what Cesc did for our forward line when he was here, the sort of strikers he was supplying,
he can make anybody look good.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the reason why. And they're not. Let's be honest, they're not going to keep John Obi Mikel,
who was good for Nigeria. He was actually quite good.
Was he?
Yeah.
I refuse to believe John Obi Mikel's ever good.
But Kris, is he going to be on the pitch, or is he going to be arguing with Mourinho like he did with Del Bosque this week?
Very true,
I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you his hamstrings are going to twing. He's not going to be able to handle Premier League at 27 with dodgy hamstrings, and they'll snap.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's going to be in the extra cup competition, no breaks during the winter.
And the fact that he had obviously so much depth at Barcelona to rotate with as well. I mean, Chelsea have probably got that same luxury at the same time, but I mean, his hamstring started giving out the end of his time at Arsenal, obviously he was asked to do a lot more. And at the start of his career at Barcelona too, I remember he struggled quite a lot with his hamstrings. And they are one of those things that once you start getting hamstring problems, it's quite hard to overcome that fully and not really have any issues with it.
What do you think, Dom? What do you think, Dom, about the press release that Barcelona put out that they quickly erased after the backlash about him tiring towards the ends of seasons? If he's going to be tiring towards the end of seasons in La Liga, what's going to happen? Adding all that extra, pressure of the extra matches and
no Christmas break.
Exactly.
Well, here's what I can see. Obviously, with I know that you've got a little bit to say on this, John, and with his temperament at the moment, but what he needs is to be like any player, to be managed properly. But I'm not sure that he's going to be taking too kindly to getting rested and played on the bench and having, all these other Oscars and Hazards and these kind of guys out there ahead of him if that ends up happening. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the guy's quality, you can't deny that he's a fantastic footballer and that, the amount of assists and through balls that he could potentially provide Chelsea is quite annoying that he's gone there.
Absolutely. And
obviously I think a lot will come down to if Costa happens to click with the Premier League or not, but I'm just sort of hope more than anything that his hamstrings are dodgy and he can't put together a full season.
Well, the way I look at it is that Mourinho thought that Mata was a problem with his attitude. Wait till he gets a hold of Cesc. I mean, to be told by your national team coach to take off your bib to give it to another player that's retiring from football because you don't have the correct attitude, and then get in an argument with them during, when this last match they can salvage some dignity. I think that kind of shows you where his mentality is at the moment.
Totally agree.
Hopefully it continues. I'll quickly say this on the Australia-Spain game. I'm looking at the stats now. We've both played the same teams. We've only conceded 6. They've conceded 7. We've scored 3. They've only scored 1 goal. So technically we're better than Spain.
Hey. So the final group games make no difference here because Netherlands and Chile are already through. So
it does make a difference who they're going to play, though. That's the only thing, doesn't it?
That does.
That could be a real hipster's choice for a game on Monday to watch. That Holland Chile game.
I'm just looking. I was looking at the next round, and here we go. I'm going to try and work this out on the fly. So this is Group B. So the winners of Group B will get the runners-up of Group A. So it looks like whoever the winner of that group is going to get Mexico in the next round
or Croatia.
Yes, right. Of course, no. They will get Croatia, because I'm just looking at those two. This is what I'm doing on the fly, and I didn't think about this before. And the runner-up of Group B, gets Brazil.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of something there to say. Pull your finger out because you don't want to play Brazil in the next round.
I thought for sure Chile was going to go through, and we said it before the World Cup started. But I really thought that it was going to be Netherlands that was going to fall apart, and it ended up being Spain.
Like the Netherlands usually do. They've got 11 players and no team.
And I would love to see Chile against Croatia. By the way, that would be nice. Very tasty.
It'd be a hard match, but I reckon either Netherlands or Chile will easily give Brazil a good game.
Yeah,
that's one worth watching. Right, Group C. Where are we on
Colombia.
this one? Colombia 2, Ivory Coast 1, and Japan 0, Greece 0. Which for me, I just hided up the sitting room and did some of the washing up when that game was on. It was absolute dog shit. It was horrendous. Greece I don't even know why they've come here. They just look like a load of Eurovision Song Contest tribute acts with a beard. That'll go over most if you don't know what the Eurovision Song Contest is. But a bearded lady one. It looked like Samaras. So with this group, Colombia have got 6 out of 6, so they're through to the next round. And then the next 2 games is Japan, Colombia, which Colombia should hopefully win. And then Greece, the Ivory Coast, and the Ivory Coast should. It'd be a tough game, but they should easily beat them. Anyone got anything to say about this god awful group apart from Colombia? The only thing making it interesting.
Colombia.
Well, I think Ivory Coast played really well against Colombia.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I think Serge Aurier was the man of the match for me for the Ivorians. The sad news after that was that after their match, the Touré's little brother died. And
he was 28 and he died of cancer. Unfortunately, he was living in the UK, and he started out at the same club as both the other two brothers did in Belgium.
Yeah, so you have to think where their mindset's going to be going into that last match.
So sad. Just shows us how unimportant in reality football is when you see things like this happening. It's so sad.
Absolutely.
So
what do you boys think about the reports? Serge Aurier, $8 million, done deal, $60K a week.
Yeah. I said to you, didn't I, John, the other day, the latest that I'd heard from France, or reports from France, was that the club Toulouse had agreed fees with Arsenal, Marseille, and Inter Milan, and that it was down to the player to sort of take up negotiations after the World Cup. But there's a lot of other reports, as you rightly say, suggesting that the fee's already been agreed and that he could be coming to either us or Marseille, and they are the only two choices. I think it's, for that price, it's a no-brainer. I'm kind of with Dom on this one a bit, in the extent that I still not 100% sure it will happen. I still think we'll end up going for somebody more 25, 26 years old upwards. But for that price, for a player with that much potential, I've seen Man City fans saying, "Why are we not going for him instead of getting Sagna?" I think that speaks volumes when a team with that much money is looking for a player that cheap. And I just think it would be a real. I think we'll regret it if we don't pull the trigger on this one.
I think if you look at it, both at club and country, he's asked to play so far forward. And to give you an example, there was a tweet today that said Serge Aurier has run 19.342 kilometers in 180 minutes of the World Cup, which is 107 meters per minute every minute on average.
I think I saw one that said Ozil's on 109.
Yeah, so I mean it's just ridiculous amount of running
for someone who is only running up and down the right hand side, not the entire pitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that kind of gives you an idea what he's asked to do, which kind of meshes perfectly with the type of offensive game plan that Wenger deploys.
We'll come to this later, I'm sure, but it all hinges on if or whom we get in for a defensive midfield signing, because that's that sort of player. Me and Don were talking pre-pod. That's the sort of player that's going to have to be asked to do that job, covering the right and left backs when they bomb on. And when people if you sign someone like Aurier who does just bomb on, a lot of the time you need that stability in a defensive midfielder to naturally slot into that position to cover him.
Do you think that maybe because in the first game he got those 2 quality assists, do you think, and with his speed and pace and ability just to keep on running, do you think maybe he could be converted into a right winger?
Absolutely. He basically plays that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He plays so far forward.
If you look at the history of Arsene Wenger doing that with players, I mean, he does often buy a player. I mean, Kolo Touré was brought in as a right midfielder, and he ended up as centre back. I mean, anything's possible.
Was a right midfielder who ended up playing right back.
Loren's a good example, really. I mean, those sort of players. And the thing is with the sort of the African physique and the sort of the way that their game is based, they're very good athletes, and those sort of players will slot in easily into the style of football we play. The only other thing worth considering is there's an African Nations Cup, isn't there, in January?
Oh, haven't they moved?
Yeah, every 2 years.
Yeah,
every 2 years. I don't know whether that will have any effect. I doubt it, but equally we have shipped out a lot of our African players, so I don't know whether that would have any bearing on whether we would go there again.
And how about old Gervinho? He's been looking good, hasn't he? 2 goals in 2 games.
He always does. When it's not at Arsenal.
Are you going to say, Dom?
I'll play devil's advocate for just a minute on Aurier. I like him, but were we not lambasting Sagna for being out of position a bunch of times this season, and getting too far forward and getting caught on counter-attacks and things, right? So for me,
the difference, Dom, though, isn't it the age? Sagna wasn't able to track back after the injuries.
I don't know that it was. Honestly, with Sagna, he was just out of position sometimes. I don't think it was a matter of him. He's still a fantastic athlete. He's not slowing up, so to speak, but he's just not going to get any better. But just position-wise, if a 31-year-old experienced right back's getting caught out of position and we're all tearing our hair out, going, "Why won't you, sort your shit out?" How are we, going to go with someone that's naturally, like we've all been going on about, his offensive qualities, but the guy's a defender at the end of the day. I'd rather we talk about how great a defender he is
But he is a good defender. When he's close to the ball, he marks his man really well. He often dispossesses his man. He can anticipate really well. I think a lot of times too, when Sonya was caught out of position was when, our midfielders were dispossessed while they were attacking. And we saw that at quite a bit, and saw Aurier make his way back, for the Ivory Coast. But also, how many times did we see Sonya hit the first man on a cross? And off they went on a counter.
That's the one thing Aurier will give you. And again, having watched him last season in France, his assist record is fantastic, and he is that sort of player that
and goals. Didn't he get
goals? And he'll push the opposition fullback back as well, which automatically will free up space for your Santi Cazorlas, for your Mesut Ozils to float into the space that's vacated by if the opposition left back is having to mark our offensive right back. There suddenly is a lot more space in the midfield to pull strings for other players coming through. So it's ups, pluses and minuses, really.
Are you anyone a bit worried about the fact that it was those rumours that Chelsea are willing to take offers of Ivanovic? Oh, I haven't said that right, have I?
Ivanovic.
And they're right back, and then maybe they're going for Aurier as well.
I don't think you get rid of Ivanovic, surely.
No, I don't. If a club at the end of the day,
I think the link actually said that they were willing to sell him to Arsenal, which that automatically they went, nah, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
But the thing about it as well, he's an Arsenal supporter.
Yeah.
It isn't like we're talking about some guy that's just a football player who doesn't support anybody. Let's have it right. He's throwing himself at our team.
Yeah.
As well.
Be mad not to take him.
Which is the only other thing that makes me think, I wonder how real these reports are, or whether it's just the media have got an idea that we're interested in this guy because he loves us and wants to play for us so badly. Is it easy, lazy journalism just to say, oh yeah, we want him because he wants us? Time will tell, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
One last thing before we move on from this group. Wilfried Boney, future Arsenal player?
No.
Boney.
No.
Don't think he's good enough. I like him. I do like him, but I think he suits. I think it's another Mishu. I think if he does it again next, maybe, or maybe just he only suits the sort of team he plays for. I hate to say this, and
Mishu wasn't a one-season wonder. He was hurt all last year.
Yeah.
He only had one leg. But he's definitely too good for Swansea, though, isn't he? I mean, last season, 17 in 34. Season before that with Vitesse Arnhem, 31 in 30. There again, I could probably get 20 goals a season playing in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, the sad part is I could see him somewhere like Spurs. That's the sad part, and I hope that doesn't happen. But I could. It's that easy, that kind of team, Newcastle, a kind of a mid-table team. I think he would get goals, and it can go one way or the other. It can either go Drogba or it can go. Villarreal forward at Man United. What's his name, John? Not Villarreal. Oh God.
You're having a moment.
Valladolid, the dreadlock striker, Manucho, who was at Man United. He was very similar sort of style and physique, and he didn't do it. So it'll go one way or the other.
So this group, Colombia are through, definitely, and they're playing Greece next, and they're playing Japan next, so they're probably going to win that, and then it's going to be the Ivory Coast will almost definitely beat or draw with Greece, so it'll be Colombia and the Ivory Coast that are through to the next round, and they've been by far the best two teams in that. When I said it's a god-awful group, I meant Japan and Greece, not the Ivory Coast, because the Ivory Coast, I do like to see the African teams doing well, it's nice to see the Ivory Coast, and it's nice to see Drogba having his swan song, because he'll be retiring soon to this. He might make one more African Cup of Nations, but even that is a bit debatable.
One other really literally 2 second thing on Japan. Ushida, their right back, he's another one that's been linked. Big fan, personally. He's 26, plays at Schalke. It's an alternative. He's probably
and the right back from a couple of groups back, the right back for Switzerland as well.
Liechtenstein, isn't it?
Yeah, that after their performances, I think we can all put that one to bed.
Yeah, and Juventus are not going to sell their number one right back. I just don't know. I don't think that's happening.
All right, so next group is a group which is Group D with a certain team called England in. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
We hate to say we told you so.
They have been unlucky. We should say they have been unlucky. They have played well. The games have been entertaining. But I was saying to you lot that I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the reasons why that they've been so shit is because Roy isn't his own man. He's a yes man. And having Gerrard in there, there's no reason why you would have 5 Liverpool players. I mean, I don't know if you want to count, not Lallana, is it? The bloke up front. They've just bought Ricky Lambert. I don't know if he counts as a proper Liverpool player yet. But having that many Liverpool players, there's no way that Henderson would be playing in an England team when you need to go out there and create if it wasn't for the fact that Gerrard was there. Because you might as well just have no central midfield because Gerrard is dog shit. Henderson is a up-and-coming decent player, but he's a defensive player. And they're having to carry Gerrard. I keep wanting to say Gerrard. I don't know. Well, I think I said it in jest once, and now my brain is stuck with it. But you imagine that midfield if we would have had Ross Barkley and Jack Wilshere in the middle. That's what we should have had.
Let me ask you something, Danny. Yeah. To go with your statement there. Don't you think that Henderson had the type of season he did because of the forward line of Liverpool creating all that space for him to kind of roam into?
Yeah, you wouldn't see his failings because you had all those goals, everyone scoring goals, and just couldn't do it for England. And then I looked at the other problem with England, Rooney. So you've had to accommodate for Gerrard in midfield and having to accommodate for Rooney and playing on the left-hand side for Everton. But Leighton Baines, in his last 8 games for Everton, he had 6 different partners he's working on the left-hand side with. And I thought, well, that's no kind of consistency. What is so good about Leighton Baines? Then I went and had a look at his last 6 games for England. He played 4 times with Welbeck, once with Rooney, and once with Rodriguez on the left-hand side. But then half of the qualifiers, you had, don't exactly mean 50%, but for some of the qualifiers, you had Ashley Cole playing at left-back. So the whole left-hand side, you need to have some kind of synergy on the wings, otherwise it's not going to work. You've seen what it's like. I mean, we've all seen what it's like at Arsenal with Theo Walcott. You've got to have the understanding he had with I've forgotten his bloody name. Sanya. I'm thinking Lauren. And the understanding he had with Sanya was that you're going to have to work harder because Theo isn't going to track back as much. And that's the kind of things you need to have working units on the left and the right. Now, it wasn't going to happen because the Ox has been injured. But just think what if England would have had the Ox and Gibbs playing on the left-hand side. They've had synergy all for the last 2 or 3 seasons. They know each other. They train together. They know what each other are going to do. So it's like having the centre-back pairing. The centre-back pairing for England were rubbish, but you'd imagine if you'd have had, as much as we all hate him, John Terry and Tim Cahill. Gary Cahill. Is it Gary? Glenn?
Yeah.
John?
Gary Cahill,
I'm losing my mind here. Imagine if you'd have had John Terry and Gary Cahill there. That synergy of those two, the central defenders, would have worked so much better. But when you've got so many players coming in and leaving out and not working and not knowing each other, and then you get a few weeks together, it's just ultimately doomed to fail, especially with Roy being a yes man.
But the thing is,
he should never have gone.
The flip side of that coin is that maybe that's why they went with so many Liverpool and United players, that he thought that would kind of click. But when you pick shit players or pass the hill players, they can play together all season. Doesn't mean that it's going to click when the time is right.
And 2 of my favourite bits this season has been Gerrard slipping over and losing Liverpool the league, and then giving the assist to Suarez losing England, getting England knocked out of the World Cup. I mean, that is just 2 things. He should just retire now, and that's all we'll ever remember of the bloke. I'm going to shut up.
I know Dom's probably will touch on this better, which I'll leave him to do in a second. But the media. There's a big perception. There has been ever since I was born. I mean, I'm 31 now, so it's a number of years, sadly. All throughout these years, that there's this misconception that England are one of the powerhouse nations in European football. It's a myth. It is a myth. It has been for a number of years. If you look at the mentality of the English footballers when they receive the ball, the first thought is, I've got to get rid of it. Yeah. It's panic. As a right back, you're trained, even at Sunday League level, the first thing you're trained is as a right back. If there's no other pass on, it goes line. You lump it line. And the fundamentals of how kids are brought up in this country, of how we're told to play football, of the style. If you look at the Spanish, the Germans last night was a prime example. If you've got a player, Ozil's a good example to use. He's marked by 2 players, but he's still demanding the ball because he knows his technical ability is good enough. His close control is good enough that he can take a step to the side, take a step to the front, and beat 2 players, and then free up.
Like
Yeah, and free up
they're
the
not going to
space.
shit their pants when they get the ball.
Exactly.
But I would say
we do.
one positive thing for England, I think it was Sturridge down the right-hand side where he went round 3 players. He did like a little bit of techers, I think, as the Utes call it. And that was a delightful moment. Then got past him and crossed it and did nothing. I was just really gutted that Rooney scored.
How many?
There have been 3 World Cups where he wouldn't have scored, but...
How many players in the England national team would get into any of the top, I'd say the top 10 European sides? There's not many. And the thought of this whole, the Rooney myth for me is just, the last time I remember Wayne Rooney being a truly outstanding footballer.
When is it ever?
Well, yeah, I think it was his first season at United. I remember he got a hat-trick against Fenerbahce in the Champions League, and he was an out-and-out centre-forward. Since then, he's a very average at best striker, and the only reason that he's got the price tag, he's got the money he's on, is because he's English and because of the hype that surrounds him. And I'm 100% behind what you said, Danny, about, Hodgson. I think he's a nice enough bloke, but he is a yes man. He went with the media. He got sucked into this idea that we should play attacking flair football. And then he picked the exact wrong players to play that style of football.
I mean, this sums it up when you see in the first half, Rooney shouting at the manager, I'm not playing on the left-hand side. So
That's
he
ridiculous.
moves him. And then he's complaining in the press that he doesn't want to play there, so you play him up front. Well, how about you piss off? But on a positive note, you've got the future of England with Wilshere and... the bloke from Everton, Barkley in the middle, and then you've got Sturridge up front, and you've got Sterling out wide, and you've got the Ox, you've got Theo. You need to get rid of Leighton Baines. That's another thing you need to do. All he does is set pieces, and he's quite good for Everton. That's it. He's not an England player.
Who's the next up and coming centre back? Because I don't know any.
John Stones at Everton is about the only half decent one with any kind of prospect.
He was playing at Barnsley last year.
Yeah.
I mean.
He's only 19 or 20, isn't he?
Well, Rooney, going back to what Kris said, Rooney stopped being the Rooney that everybody was raving about when Ronaldo left. When Ronaldo left for Madrid.
Yeah, and it was all on him.
And Dom's got a good thing to mention about what the Australian press think of the UK football team.
You've got so many different outlets over there, reporting news, and if you really stop and think about it logically, the press's job isn't necessarily to report the news. We can all do that via social media ourselves now. Their job is purely to sell papers and get clicks. So it makes complete and utter sense to me sitting here knowing that what's the best way to do that, and it's with negativity. Negativity and frustration is going to sell much more than, being content and complacent. So of course they're going to hype up the England national team's chances and tell everybody that they're going to do really well, and there's some pundits have said that we could go all the way, and then when it inevitably goes how it's scripted to go, the media can lay a boot in and sell a bunch of papers by saying how crap everyone is and getting everyone wound up on. All you have to do is go through Twitter and have a look at your timeline and see all the negativity when England games are on and see how frustrated everybody is. But I mean, looking here, and the pundits that I've been watching through the Australian TV haven't said anything regarding England being disappointing or underperforming or being embarrassing or anything. In fact, like if you look at who should win out of Italy and England, Italy. If you look at who should win out of Uruguay and England, Uruguay. There's not been any shocks.
Bang on.
So if you really stop and look logically and break it down yourself and have a little bit of a think about it, nothing's happened that's out of the ordinary to get people such in a tizzy. It's the media that do that because they've got an agenda.
I think the whole FA need to look at people are saying it on the radio the whole time. People who know the number of coaches in the UK is bugger all, but the number of teams is unbelievably massive. None of our players go and play abroad. I once was on Online Arsenal, a forum, a fantastic Arsenal forum, and I did this thing, your 20-year career. Who would you go and play for? I said I'd start off at Barnet, I'd move to Peterborough, I'd then go and play for Arsenal, and then I'd go and play for Inter Milan, Palermo, then I'd finish my career off playing in Brazil or France with Caen. Yeah. And that's what I'd like to do. But so many, all the English players, they just do not want to go abroad. That's just the English mentality. And then it's just, we don't have our players playing abroad. Our top teams, which don't have many England players playing in them. When you look at the top four, Liverpool, all their players who played for England were rubbish. They failed with Liverpool and they failed with England. I mean, Sterling and Sturridge show promise, and hopefully that is the future of England. But then Chelsea, they don't really have any, do they? Apart from Cahill.
No.
And then Man United, they've got Rooney and Welbeck, and I don't rate either of those two.
No.
And it's just like all these. It's just you need to go back down to like we were talking. Like Kris has got his Barbican Pirates team, and the amount of money he's having to get to play pyramid level 12 or 13. The amount of money you can tell us a little bit about that and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, I mean, I run and play for, as Danny said, our team down here in Plymouth, which is in the UK, in Devon, which is sort of the leg of the country for anyone from overseas. In order to just get ourselves into a league and pay our fees, our pitch fees, which we pay to the local council, entry fees, which go to the Devon FA directly, as well as equipment, things that you'll need all season, excluding kits, I should stress, we have to find £1,050. And that's just to get in and up and running. Sponsorship is a huge part of that, and it's very difficult to get people to part with their money for obvious reasons. If we want to train, which we're doing tomorrow night, we have to train at a local park because we can't afford to hire out equipment or hire out a floodlit pitch for the amount of time that we need to do our pre-season. So luckily in the UK at the moment, the nights are quite late, or daylight's quite late, so we get to play till 10 o'clock at night. But in the winter, we will have to hire a floodlit pitch to do our training, which would be extra money each week. You get priced out. It's not like in the 80s where you could go out and kick a ball about in the streets, because there's so many more cars, there's so much more crime, and kids, to be honest, they're more interested in playing PlayStations nowadays. And it's not their fault; it's the world they live in. But they're not encouraged. You can't even coach in a school now because you could be deemed a sex offender.
They don't want any competitiveness in schools, do they?
Exactly. So you have to go through these even coaching courses to enter into our league this year. I've had to take a first aid course because
free. Well, I bet it wasn't.
£112. Which is, and I literally the only reason I have to take that course is because as a manager of a team, I have to have a certificate. Whereas what happens, we had 3 players this season all received leg breaks, and all 3 of them went to hospital and an ambulance was called. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we had 3 leg breaks during the season. They were all, nothing bad, no bad challenges. Okay. It was all just, luck of the draw. Yeah. But all 3 of those, nobody ran onto the pitch with a first aid certificate waving it frantically. We immediately got on the phone, called an ambulance, and the players were in hospital. So that's another £112. I mean, you could go on for hours, but
so you're the best part of about £2,000 you're going to have to find between you and the players.
Yeah, the players all have to pay. Our players charge £50 a player signing on fee, which we do things a bit different with our team. We actually sell the kits. The players will actually buy them directly personally, so they own the kit, whereas a lot of clubs will buy group kit and they'll distribute them out of a bag each week. We do it slightly differently. But even clubs that buy team kit for everyone, even there, you're talking £30 a signing on fee for any local team. So, and then you, as I say, you've got your subs fees every week, which we charge our players. It's a lot of money to ask people. And don't forget as well, we're all sort of 20, I think our squad is 24 years of age up to sort of 40. I mean, how on earth you can expect a kid to pay these fees? Or for parents, you have 3 boys, for example, and you want to put your kids through into a team. It's not going to happen.
During the double dip recession.
Yeah, and village teams can't afford to, even though they might have mums and dads helping out with coaching and halftime oranges and all that jazz. You still got to pay your overheads to maintain your pitches and all that. So they still have to charge the kids' parents. It's a flawed system, and until it changes, we all have a flawed national side.
Well, at the moment, we're getting between 6,000 and 8,000 of you lovely listeners listening to our podcast. The Jeremy Wilson one got nearly 9,000 listeners. So if everybody gave us all £1, then we could sponsor your team for the next 5 years. So if anybody out there wants to help Kris or wants to sponsor the team in any way at all, just follow. What's your at on Twitter, Kris?
At AFC Freddy 8, FREDDIE number 8.
All right, so if anybody can help him out, we do that. Or if everybody wants to give us all £1, we'll sponsor him. But I can't see that happening. But you never know.
That wasn't a segue to beg, by the way.
No, it wasn't. We didn't even talk about it. But that just shows that you're not even grassroots, are you? You're just mud. You're below grassroots, and it's just if that's how much it costs, at the way all the way down to the team that you're starting up out in the kindness of your heart because you love the game so much. And I'm suppose you'd love to have some 16, 17, 18-year-olds, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or young players coming in and trying to show what they can do, and then help move them on with their career.
Yeah, absolutely. And
what support do you get from the FA?
We don't get any. I mean, and even if you want to start a reserve side, which is ideally to filter through youngsters, you can apply for a grant. They're on average they'll provide, I think it's 3 teams across the whole of Devon will be eligible for a grant. So in other words, they'll choose 3, and there's something in the region of about 180 teams in Devon. So
good luck.
You know, I mean, good
60
luck.
60 to 1 chance.
And even if you get a grant, as one of my friends did, it was £200.
And what can you do with that?
I mean, that buys 10 balls. I mean, you know, it's a flawed system, but.
Oh dear! But people just go and Google coaches, and you see the numbers that places like the Netherlands have compared to the UK. I think someone said we got like 10,000 coaches in the UK, whereas the Netherlands would have 60 or 70,000. I don't know the numbers. I mean, I've heard it plenty of times, and it's just so infuriating. Anyway, before we all end up crying our eyes out with the future of those other two haven't said a word because they don't give a shit about the England game. John, tell us a little bit about the rising Arsenal star Joel Campbell in Costa Rica and how impressive.
Joel Campbell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody saw what he did in the first match versus Uruguay. I think Uruguay was a little bit hampered, not being able to have the Cavani and Suarez combination to attack, but they still had the same midfield and defense, and Joel kind of ran riot over them. Now, Italy doesn't have what in recent years would be considered a top team for them, but they still have great veteran players. And Joel didn't look out of place, did he?
No, he definitely didn't, and he frustrated them. When you've got the likes of Buffon diving all over the place, you wouldn't expect that pre-World Cup from a team. I don't want to derogate them by saying a team like Costa Rica, but it's just so refreshing to see a team go out there and do so brilliantly. We're playing without fear.
Nobody outside, don't feel bad. Nobody outside Costa Rica gave them a chance to do anything in this group.
But they're playing without fear, aren't they? That's how they're enjoying it. They're going out and taking it to teams like Italy rather than shitting their pants and not.
Well, I mean, you can ask Dom this with the mentality of a team that's not expected to do anything, like Australia has come out and surprised everybody. I think Costa Rica has done the same thing. No, Dom?
Oh, absolutely. I think the psychology behind the two dressing rooms is going to be polar opposites, isn't it? It's almost a little bit of the, going back to the Arsenal Hull City FA Cup final, where you've got one team, sitting there thinking, we better not lose this, and the other team thinking, oi boys, imagine if we can win this. And it's completely different when you're going out on the pitch a little bit nervous and a little bit, all the pressure on your shoulders. And I think it makes a huge difference because, I've said before that these guys are still human beings. They still feel emotion. They get nervous. And then everyone handles the nerves differently. And especially when you've got expectation, then that's another level again. So, yeah, I mean, Costa Rica have got some really talented players. Whenever you make it to the World Cup, you're not at the Barbarian Pirates level. You've got to be half decent to run around out there with those guys.
No one's at that level, Dom.
Yeah. So even Joel Campbell, when he picked the ball up and ran into the penalty box, and that was a dead set penalty. I think Chiellini was inside him for a second there. He was all up in his business that much.
That was a stonewall penalty.
Oh, God. And just little things like that. He was just playing absolutely, like you said, without any fear whatsoever. Didn't care for the Italian defenders' reputations. He was willing to have a go, and he looks quite good.
What I'm kind of encouraged about is that Wenger said that he'll be with us for preseason and he'll get his chance.
Yeah.
But he can play across the front three. A lot of people forget that he was signed on as an out-and-out striker.
Yep.
And it's been through the loans to Lorient and to Betis and to Olympiacos that he started playing on the wing more. But he's kind of developed his game that you can put him on the left, on the right, or up top by himself, and he's going to create.
Yeah. And he'll have that time probably with Arsenal to get the sort of the bulking up process. I mean, he's a big lad as it is, but he'll be Premier League polished. By the time we actually see him, I would expect him to be gradually introduced as sort of an impact sub for the first 2, maybe 3 months of the season. And then when it comes to the inevitable and we get some injuries, that'll be the time when you'll probably start to see him get games. He'll probably get the Carling Cup games as well, whatever it's called these days. But if he shows that sort of form in training and the attitude's right, there'll be nothing stopping Arsene Wenger giving him a game. I've got no doubt about that at all.
Well, the good thing about it is that we're getting numbers now. Bodies. Quality bodies.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we need. Did anyone see Balotelli with his Panini Football World stickers? What he did?
Yeah.
he spent, I think, £1,500 trying to get. There's pictures of all the boxes and the packets open, trying to get enough stickers of just him to fill up the entire Italy page, both pages of the entire squad, with just pictures of him in every single slot, saying, "Why always me?" I thought that was just genius.
He's a character.
What do we think about the link to him?
Well, he showed how easily frustrated he can get in that game, because he was just getting, I wouldn't say he was getting no service, but he wasn't getting as much service as he wanted. He had a couple of chances and he ended up getting booked, and so that just shows the darker side of him. But I'd still have him.
Dom, we're a fan, aren't we?
Yeah, I like him. I think that, talent wise, he's got bags and bags of talent. Pure football ability is not really the question. It's for two things for me. I think you've got Giroud, who he's a lot better than what people give him for, and he's 190 odd centimetre centre forward.
You have to say that in feet, because 50% of our listeners are in the UK.
He's 6'4".
Is he?
Yeah.
6'3", something like that. He's a big lad.
Yeah.
And so is Balotelli, so is Giroud, so is Sonogo. So for me personally, and even Arsene Wenger has said this, that he doesn't want to replace Giroud. He wants to find a striker or a forward that can play with him. That can play with him or in place of him.
Play with him, as in like a two up front?
Or on a wide position.
Like
so playing either on the left or right wing, and then also being able to play through the middle. So that's personally why I can't, irrelevant to his, attitude or his temperament and those kind of issues that I'm sure could prove to be, more than a handful. But to me, it's personally, I just don't think that Arsene Wenger wants that type of player coming in as far as his stature goes more than anything. I think that he's going to look for a medium-sized, mobile, ambidextrous type player that can play across the front three.
Ambidextrous means you can use left or right. Does that apply to feet and hands? Are you ambidextrous with your hands? Or is there a separate word?
Isn't there another word?
Both. Yeah, it's both.
Is it?
It can be feet or hands.
I think there's two X factors in the Balotelli deal. One of them is Puma.
Yes, definitely.
Myself and Don were talking pre-pod about just how much that the Puma official Twitter account seemed to be quite keen to chat to supporters of Arsenal and people that tweet. I had a brief sort of couple of replies from them the other day just about Boots, weirdly, but they seem quite keen to put it out there and tease that there's quite a few things coming to look forward to, and obviously the kit deal is set to be unveiled in early July, and I just wonder if
see what you're thinking.
I just wonder if there is, I just wonder if there's something in that. Balotelli is arguably their biggest client, along with Falcao, and I don't think Falcao's on our radar somehow.
Cesc is Puma as well, isn't he?
Or Cesc, yeah. But as strikers go, it would be, I guess my point is it would be a statement. And I think Arsene Wenger does love a project. He does love an idea of taking a player that he can make into something, and people forget Balotelli is only 24.
The career he's had, the goals he's scored.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's about 28 looking at him.
And the other X factor you've got is the value. It's 20 million quid.
Giving it away.
It's nothing, is it really?
We all talk about Balotelli, having the talent, and obviously he does. But did you see his conversion rate?
Yeah.
And we complain about Giroud.
Yeah. It's all hipster's choice.
It is not a great improvement if we bring in Balotelli.
But he was in a terrible Milan side last season.
But it's the past 3-4 years it hasn't changed. It's between 11 and 13% for the past 3 years.
But I think we are all fully aware that the Balotelli, if we sign him, it could go completely tits up.
Yeah. It's a nice little segue to Giroud and France, though. Should we talk about the French?
Yeah, moving on from this, in this group, Costa Rica's through. Italy or Uruguay?
I want Italy to go through just so I can watch more Buffon and Pirlo and Balotelli. Anyone else want Uruguay, or is everyone with me?
I want Uruguay to go through.
Why?
I don't want them, but I think they will.
Yeah. I want Uruguay because they're more exciting.
Yeah, that's true. Watching Cavani fuck stuff up.
And imagine the shitstorm that fucking Suarez can get himself into.
Yeah.
And I suppose the more games Suarez plays for Uruguay, the more games, the less fit he's going to be for the new season, unlike all the England players who are going to be ready for the new season.
Anyone read the reports overnight about Suarez?
No, what's that? What's he done? Who's he killed?
apparently he's told his agent that he wants discussions with Liverpool to make sure that the clause in his contract to leave for Barcelona and Real Madrid is intact.
Yeah, I heard Madrid.
Apparently he's already started the wheels in motion, so he'll be gone.
Good.
Give or take, hopefully.
What a player, though. Okay, well, that's so. Dom, who you want to go through? Italy or Uruguay?
Italy. I'm with you, Danny.
And Kris?
I'd like Italy, but I think Uruguay will go through.
Well, I think Italy will. Okay, next group is Group E for Elephant. Now, one of the games of the tournament here, Switzerland 2, France 5. Who wants to go first on that?
Wow. I mean, what can you say? The big man, Giroud.
Pace.
He was great, wasn't he?
In that weather, in that temperature. I mean, I noticed that quite a late kickoff over. So if it's 8 o'clock here, it means it was probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon over there. Was it 2?
Yeah.
That's even more impressive, closer to midday in Bahia. Oh, what a fantastic game! I thought all the players, and I was watching it with my friend Anna, who's a Liverpool fan, and all she kept going was, Valbuena, he's so small. Look at him, he's tiny. She thought he was miles away, and he wasn't. He was right up to the camera. But I thought Valbuena had a really good game. Pogba was semi-impressive. Benzema, do you think Benzema flatters to deceive? Do you think he's as good as
Absolutely not.
I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, is that why Real just re-signed him up to a longer deal?
They've already verbally agreed an extension. It's going to be finalized after the World Cup. So everybody, please stop talking about fucking Benzema moving. He's not going anywhere.
If you're a young striker, whether you're, say young, if you're any age, if you want any example of how work rate can affect a team's forward line, just watch Karim Benzema. He is tireless. Whether it's side to side, whether it's up and forwards, whether it's layoffs, whether it's receiving to feet and holding the ball up. He's always, and the thing is, it's not necessarily lung-busting runs like most people would associate with tireless working. It's just his ability to move short distances and open spaces for people. He's a real talisman as far as leading the line go, and like John said there, he's vital for Real Madrid. And who'd have thought that when they signed him? He's a player I would love.
The president, when he signed him, basically said, I've never had a player that I have signed from youth, being relatively young and, semi-known for him to develop and win the Ballon d'Or. And that's what he said that he wanted for Benzema.
Yeah.
He said it several times. Now, you're talking about a player that, like you said, does a lot of what Giroud does for Arsenal. He goes back to midfield, he collects the ball, he brings it up, he links up players, he does all that. He kind of makes that Real Madrid team go. I mean, I don't think Ronaldo and gets the goals that he does if Benzema isn't there doing a lot of the work that he does as well.
Agreed.
And how the hell is Sarko getting in? Is it Sarko getting in ahead of Koscielny? And I think it's because Koscielny won the qualifying games where I think he gave away a penalty and then I think he got sent off and he was just shit. I thought Cabaye was pretty good as a more holding midfielder rather than when he was at Newcastle, he was a more attacking midfielder.
Kabash, yeah. As they were saying it in Spanish TV, Kabash.
I think we missed a trick there, by the way, because we were offered him for 10 million, and I really do think we missed a trick with him.
What did he go for? About 25, 26?
24.5 to PSG. And Sacco, Koscielny is likely, in Arsenal news, Koscielny is likely to play the next 2 games for France because Sacco's done his groin. So looks like he'll miss the next 2 at least.
And about Debuchy, Dom, did you see this game? And do you think Debuchy is a half-decent right-back? He's still at Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, I did see the game. I didn't really notice Debuchy too much. I think the Switzerland defence was too busy being violated to notice the France defence too much. But one thing I wanted to bring up with this was the assist that Giroud got, where he went piss bowling down the wing. I'm pretty sure that he cleared that corner.
He cleared the header, yeah.
Yeah, he cleared the header, and then next minute he's right up the pitch, receiving the ball and running along and crossing it into Valbuena to tap home an easy goal. So that's impressive. That kind of work rate to get back to clear a header, and then all of a sudden you're up the other end of the pitch assisting.
As well as
Imagine
being very,
getting in front of that fucking freight train, though.
Yeah, right. As well as being an incredibly handsome man. I mean, I am 100% straight, but I do get tempted sometimes watching him. He's got a fantastic physique. He's got a hell of a pair of lungs in him. I mean, he does work hard. The amount of assists he got for us last year and second assists sort of shows that he is a workhorse across the line. Obviously the sort of throwing himself to the floor doesn't help his game because you often think he's looking for a rest. Maybe he is actually tired, but I wouldn't say he's pacey. But he has got that little bit of a spring about his game that if he's got open space to run into, you will see it. If you look at how we play him at Arsenal, he is always the spearhead, so you don't really see him in the position where he can open his legs like that for Arsenal.
I think he's like anyone over 6'2", 6'3", that they just take a little bit to wind up, but once they get going with their long strides, they're really hard to wind back in again.
Yeah, kind of like Yaya Toure.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a big lad, and he doesn't impress in the short burst speed, but once he gets going, it's impossible to stop him.
And that's quick feet as well. Quick feet. I mean, Benzema is very quick as well, and people don't realise that. And if you look at how quick his feet move, for a very big guy.
But don't you? Let me ask you this question, Kris. How do you think this France showing is kind of for Giroud? Kind of shows you he needs those runners. He needs those people to play with him as far as the link-up play and whatnot for him to shine. I mean, I think that match and subsequent previous performances have shown that if you do have runners around Giroud, he's a much more effective player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think it's very difficult because what do you want from your centre forward? I mean, Giroud took all kinds of shit last year, and certainly not from me. No. How much do you want from your centre forward? I mean, everyone was waxing lyrical about how good Alvaro Negredo was. What did he do in the second half of the season?
In the outside of the penalty box.
Yeah, even Sergio Aguero. I mean, at the very top level, no striker is going to score every single week. No striker is going to put a shift in every single week.
Outside of La Liga.
Outside La Liga. And the thing with Giroud, again, it's stuff we've already said before, but it's worth touching on. He's pretty much played every single game for us up front last season. He was absolutely shot to pieces for the last 3 months.
And still scored important goals.
And still scored goals. I mean, but as John rightly says, if you put runners alongside that, take the pressure off, and he's proved that he can play as part of a front two.
But look at his statistics, and remember, that Özil was out for quite a bit. Ramsey was out for quite a bit. And Thea was out for 3/4 of the season.
Yeah.
Cazorla was out for a bit. Podolski was out for a bit. Jack was out. So, I mean, you have everybody that he kind of links up with. He never got a run of matches except at the beginning of the season where he was excellent.
Almost a goal a game back then, when at the start.
Yep. Without those players. So I think it's, does he fluff chances? Absolutely he does, more than we all would like.
But that's getting less and less over the last 2 seasons.
And what a great option to have as well is if we do buy a centre forward, however marquee a name or not, how great will it be to finally say that Arsenal Football Club have got a plan B if things are not going to plan. And you can actually have two out-and-out strikers because, knock him for all you want. Yaya Sanogo changed that FA Cup final. And why? Yeah. Because we changed to a 4-4-2. So,
a couple of times towards the end of the season.
Exactly. So if you've got a second option, Giroud, and he's 26. I mean, he's still got the best years of his career ahead of him.
Plus, he doesn't rely on pace, does he? Which gives him another year or two. He's no Michael Owen.
The one thing I would say is I would not leave him anywhere near a hotel and any woman I've got any association with. So that side of him needs taking.
Surprising for him from that game was possession. Switzerland had 57%, and they both had 14 shots at goal. Some were wide, some were on target. And it was nice to see Hugo Lloris fuck up and let 2 goals in right at the end. I thought, And then how many times did you see Senderos's muggy mug at the screen? And, oh, no.
Senderos and Giroud as a
Giroud and fucking Senderos. We were talking about it. They don't work together. What a fucking surprise that was. Huh?
Other than that, Switzerland actually played quite well.
But
defensively, they were horrific, and that is at this level. I mean, ask England. You've only got to switch off 2 times, or in this case 5 times. I mean, France could conceivably have had 8 or 9. And you've got to be careful France have been really good and they've impressed me, but you also have to look at the opposition. And we should also touch briefly on Ecuador, who really impressed me against Honduras. They came from behind.
Yeah, I watched that. We were watching 3 Days to Kill. I had that on the big telly, and I had the Ecuador game. I thought, it's going to be a
Double
shit
duty.
game. I put it on the 26-inch TV, which I've got as my monitor, and I thought, I'll just carry on watching the 3 Days to Kill. Which, if anyone wants to watch it, dog shit, don't bother. And I was more intrigued with the game. It was very,
a really good game.
So you have to remember, CONMEBOL region.
Yeah, South America.
They finished qualifying ahead of Uruguay.
And it was expansive, and it was almost like 2 teams that looked at each other and went, look, realistically, each other are going to be the teams we're going to take points off, so let's go for it. And they really did. And Honduras, probably more of a physical approach than I would normally like, but even they opened up, and it was really end to end. Lots of corners, lots of chances, lots of shots, and it was pretty much 2 teams who just thought, yeah, let's just go for this. And
Danny, kind of to wind up the group.
Yeah.
Who do you see going through, Ecuador or Switzerland?
Ecuador. I think if Ecuador play, like Kris was just saying, with the freedom and the passion and the attacking, would it be right to say attacking flair, or the attacking ability that they showed against Honduras, I think they can go, because Switzerland are going to be shell shocked after that first game, aren't they?
And they've got an informed striker in Ana Valencia as well. So
yeah, so I think Switzerland Honduras is going to be probably a bit of a boring game, maybe, but Switzerland might just sneak it, and then France Ecuador is going to be a ding dong. That is one of the most important final group games. It's 9:00 this Wednesday, both games at the same time. I think it's going to be, and maybe another high scoring game, but I think France going through. And
France don't even need to win that game because their goal difference is
+6.
So they pretty much won the group even if they lose to Ecuador. So
do you reckon maybe they might rest some players? But
they will. They will rest players. I still don't think Ecuador will beat them, but I wouldn't be shocked if that ended up in a draw.
So I don't know. What do you think is going to happen in the group, John?
I think Switzerland are going to sneak by because France will want to keep the momentum going.
Good shout.
But Ecuador is not going to give up. If France think that game's going to be easy, wow. I mean, Ecuador is a very physical team that can turn that counter into goals very quickly.
Yeah. That is. Dom, what do you reckon on that group?
Look, I think Switzerland might sneak through on that one. I can't see. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think. I just wanted to bring up one little thing with Giroud just before we move on. Yeah. Can you imagine Serge Aurier crossing balls on top of his head?
That sounds so wrong.
Because when we've seen this season, when we've seen Jenkinson, shut up, John. When we've seen Jenkinson crossing balls, because Jenkinson can cross, but he hasn't got the defensive qualities that Aurier has, and I just think that would be indeed a thing of beauty.
Well, you were talking about how you took away his outlets as far as Ozil and Ramsey and those guys being injured goes, but of all of his goals, I think he only scored 2 headers for the whole season, and he is unbelievable in the air. You saw that against Switzerland with his first goal, how strong he is in the air, and that was another element that Arsenal don't have. Is someone that can cross his T's, let alone a ball.
I think we need to ask French John what is French for. Oi, Theo, out of the way! As he's bombing down the right-hand side doing the crossing. You track back, sunshine.
Sorry I went a bit quiet there. I was just in dreamland thinking of Aurier.
Don't get excited, and then Wenger will go, I'm not paying a single franc more.
No.
They use euros, but I'm stuck in the 80s. So everyone agrees that we'd like to see, if France and Ecuador draw, and then Honduras and Switzerland draw, Ecuador go through. I'd like to see Ecuador go through, but I think we all agree Switzerland probably will.
I'll say
the number 6 ranked team in the world.
I think Ecuador will sneak it, but just to be different.
By drawing with France or beating them?
Yeah, I think
that's what I'd like to see, because Switzerland in the next round would be a travesty. We said we were going to try and get this done in an hour. It's been an hour and 4 minutes, and now we're only on to Group F.
Just 2 more groups to go.
F4 fish cakes. Now 3 more, including this. This
probably the least to talk about this group anyway, isn't it, really?
So the games in this group: Argentina 1, Iran 0. God. Nigeria won, Bosnia-Herzegovina 0, which Bosnia were very unlucky because Dzeko scored a goal which shouldn't have been disallowed. Iran should have had a penalty. I know the Argentina goalkeeper and the defender did get a touch on the ball because in slow motion you can see the rotation of the ball slowly changed as he touched it, but for me it was still a foul.
It's a pen, yeah.
Yeah, and so that would have been a penalty.
Well, it's either a pen or a corner. They didn't get either.
Yeah, right.
It's just favouritism again, isn't it? The only thing I've got to say about this one, that Argentina were terrible, that yet again they relied on Messi, and I think Nigeria were really good. I really enjoyed watching Nigeria play, so I hope Nigeria...
they were much better last night, weren't they?
The only way Nigeria won't go through is if Iran beat Bosnia, which I can't really see that. That'll probably be another one of those games, meaningless things, so Argentina and Nigeria to go
another group that gets blown up by an unexpected team.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought Bosnia was going to go through.
I'll be honest, and I'll say this, and you can listen back to the pod. I did say I thought Nigeria would go through. That makes you sound like a real stuck-up git. But
no, someone said on the podcast account, they actually said, I've listened to the last two, and the amount of stuff that Kris got right was quite extraordinary. I think Bosnia would stroll it because of Dzeko.
I've put the check in the post to that person. I appreciate that. But I do think Nigeria will end up with that as well.
Good. Dom, you got anything to say about the group of boredom?
No, not really. The longer we talk about it, the more likely I am to fall asleep, lads.
It should be Group F for fuck's sake. John, anything?
No, not really. Just Argentina, fuck off.
Because John was saying in the WhatsApp group that people don't realise how much the rest of South America hate Argentina.
Oh, great, thanks. Now I'm going to get off the hate fucking shit.
But then John said, I personally love Argentina, as long with all the other South American teams, didn't you, John?
Absolutely. And Messi is God.
Yeah, that's it. Next group, Group G for...
Germany.
There you go. That's an easy one. I was thinking Guadalupe, but I don't even know what that is. Is that a country? Is it a
I think it's a country, isn't it?
Right, so in this one we had the first part with the ones we've already talked about, the first games, and we had the first part of the doubleheader was last night, Ghana 2, Germany 2, and the next one is tonight, which is my personal favourite game of the day, USA v Portugal. So did anybody else watch Germany Ghana?
Yeah.
Go on.
I think Germany just wow. I think they went into this match thinking
overconfident.
We're going to win. It was a training match, and Ghana said, "Excuse me."
Yeah, they were brilliant.
They were great.
Montari, another Portsmouth, he was brilliant. And the two Boateng brothers having an argument because Boateng, the Germany Boateng, swapped over to the other side, didn't he? So then he could take on his brother.
What is it about African players wearing their shorts like NBA players as well? What's that about? You see Montari wears the shorts halfway around his ass. That's bizarre.
He actually misses the third match with the two yellows.
Yeah, I did. I saw there that he got a booking. Did anyone also notice, talking about players wearing their kit, how low down when he actually come on that was it Close or was it? I think it was Close. How low down his socks were. It's almost like he wasn't wearing shin pads. I thought that's old school. Shirt untucked.
Thomas Muller does that too.
Yeah, Thomas Muller's the one.
Oh, no, that was it. Yeah, I'm just looking here. No, whoever started the game, it was Thomas Muller was doing it, and I thought that's old school. And then Close come on and scored to equal the record for the most number of goals.
I was going to say, aside from Ghana playing so well, I thought, the Close goal, and let's not forget our boy, Otto.
Brilliant.
Yeah. The 80 minutes, the last 10 minutes, I think he was shattered. And he still had a couple of assist chances. But the first 80 minutes, I mean, he played brilliantly, I thought.
The whole game was a fantastic match.
So anyone that points their finger at Ozil and tries to call him lazy is an absolute peanut.
Well, the same people who point their finger at Giroud and say shit.
Yeah. The amount of work that he was doing, running up and down and trying to create and he was on one wing, then he was down the middle, then he was on the other wing, and he was all over the place. And some of the passes that he played, the only knock I've got on him, is that I wish he'd try and do some flashy stuff sometimes, dribble around a couple of players and have a ping, because half the time he lays the ball off to someone that just scuffs it anyway. So
he did try a couple of cheeky 1-2s that didn't really work out, didn't he? When he was in the box, when it would have been better just to maybe drag it back and have a shot, but no one can criticise him. It's nice to see Schweinsteiger come on. I remember Schweinsteiger when he was a winger.
And a youngster, yeah.
Yeah, and Lahm, it's nice to see that Lahm, who was originally a left back, and then he was moved over to right back, and now that he's been playing with Guardiola. Oh yeah, I'm stuck on the
Guardiola,
fucking
yeah.
G's again. That he straight away moved him into central midfield because he's Lothar Matthäus-like with his distribution and his ability to get forward, and it's just another classic German player who can play anywhere. It's just wonderful watching him play. And
I don't know what you lot think. I just think they got to play with Klose as a
Yep.
striker from the get-go in the last match.
Yeah, I agree.
And one other move that I would make is this could be a little bit, I'm not sure what you guys think, but Khedira off and Schweinsteiger start. Khedira for me hasn't done.
He's not
I
been
don't
fit.
understand.
Yeah.
Well, he has. I think that. Are you talking about Schweinsteiger or Khedira?
Both of them, actually, yeah. Khedira's been not playing all season, and Schweinsteiger got a knock towards the end of the season.
Yeah, Schweinsteiger I know was coming back from injury. That's probably why he didn't start. But Khedira has had time to recover from the knee. He played the last few games for Madrid. His movement's been really good. I have been watching him a little bit because he's in the last year of his contract and we've been linked with him a little bit. But he's not really impressed me at all. His lateral movement's been fine, but I just don't really... He seems slow. Like once he gets the ball, he doesn't seem to... That's
really match fitness, though, Don, because his first game back for Madrid was the Champions League final.
Which is surprised he even got played in that.
Look, I disagree, boys. I think that he's had plenty of time to get match fit.
How many games do you think it takes once you come back from injury to become match fit rather than just fit? I've got no idea. I'm just curious.
I'm with Dom on this one. I've got to be honest.
They had the practice matches too. Remember?
Yeah.
Before the World Cup. And they do like a mini pre-season before a World Cup tournament. I think that it's not, it may be a bit rusty, perhaps. I'm not sure, but to me, he just didn't impress me at all.
So
I'd rather attribute it to rust than him not being a good player. Watching him since he's gone to Madrid, he doesn't play the same for the national team the way he plays for Madrid. He actually, he's a lot better player for the national team. But I will agree that this World Cup hasn't been his best.
So there was big arguments on Twitter with people saying he is a defensive midfielder, or he is a box-to-box midfielder, or he's both. What is he, John? And could he do a job with us as in the Flamini Arteta role?
To be honest, I like Khedira as a player. I think that he would, slot in well. But then you're asking him to take over Jack's role, and if I have to choose, I'd take Jack.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. Jack's got more flair, more potential.
Just to briefly touch on, just to move it along to tonight's game, to my adopted nation. That game's massive tonight. The Portugal USA game.
Kris the Trader Carpenter.
That's me. Hey, you leave soccer alone.
Dude!
I think the US have got the potential to get a draw out of this. I think I was listening to Brad Friedel on 5 Live the other night, and I think he made a good point. The only thing that's
a good talker, Brad.
He really is. He knows his stuff, and he was saying that he's a bit concerned about the US mentality and whether they might take a bit of overconfidence into this game, and thinking that after the Ghana win, would the mentality be right to get the Portugal game looked after? I do think they've got enough to take a point off Portugal. As is always the case, a lot is going to fall on the fitness of Ronaldo. I don't think he's anywhere near fit. I think he'll play, but I don't think he's anywhere near fit. And that game is going to be important. If the US can get a point, they move on to 4 points level with Germany. Portugal will be on 1, Ghana on 1 as well, which that group could have a really exciting finish.
But what overconfidence? They got bullied for 90 minutes, and they had a goal in the first minute and the last minute. What overconfidence?
I disagree.
I mean, great result for them. I mean, I'm not putting them down at all, because you have to have the typical American mentality. We're going to play from whistle to whistle, and if we play from whistle to whistle and hustle to every ball, something might happen. And they did that perfectly against Ghana.
I think you're being a little bit harsh there.
I agree and I disagree. I disagree in the extent that if Iran do what Iran do yesterday, it's heroic and fantastic. If the US do what they did, then it's suddenly... I mean, I tweeted yesterday and I said, if Stoke turn up at the Emirates next season and play like Iran did yesterday, we're all up in arms saying it's a disgrace to football, yet suddenly, Iran do it. Okay,
No, but
they had
I think you're taking that wrong. They did what they needed to do to win the match.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's not overlook the fact that they were playing defense the whole match against Ghana.
There's no argument for me there. 100% I agree. And I think in a weird way, the goal that was the Dempsey goal so early almost forced that mentality. Subconsciously and mentally, when you get a goal that early.
They didn't expect to go in 1-0 after, half a second?
They really didn't. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't excuse not pushing on for a second in the first half at least. And they were very much, Ghana really wasted the chances to get back in. But as you said, the spirit, where I do agree with you, the spirit goes a long way. When Ghana equalised, that game was theirs to win. And the spirit that the US got to push and exemplified when they won the corner from the right back, from Fabian Johnson, when he won that corner, I mean, that was pure endeavour to win that corner, which the goal came from the Brooks header. So it's all going to come down to, I think that group will come down to the last game. I think Germany will beat the US comfortably, for that matter. But Ghana could easily take points off Portugal, or if that game ends a draw, you could see the US and Germany through in that group.
Did you hear that when John Brooks scored the goal, he said in the media after that he dreamt that he scored that goal, and that someone changed his Wikipedia page to say the greatest American since Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, true, yeah. Brilliant.
I went on there to try and edit it again to say, and listens to a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, but they'd locked it so only registered editors could edit it, and now I am a registered editor since about 2006, but I didn't want to go on there and edit that because then I might get kicked off because I edit some of the Arsenal stuff.
The spirit is high, but that game tonight is crucial.
They play as a team with confidence, and Portugal should just be renamed. Give the ball to Ronaldo.
I agree.
Because they are just now the only player they had that I really liked was Morales. I thought it was only because he looks like a mental case. He looks like the bloke out of what's that film? They made a cartoon, a computer game out of it. Kangleaf, is it, or something like that?
God knows.
Someone who's listening to this is nodding. Where he's got the mohawk across the middle and the beard and what's that game?
Duke Nukem?
No, where you had the fighting. Each picked a character and you fought.
Oh, Zangief and Street Fighter.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. What did I say?
You said something similar.
Yeah. So I just like the fact that he looks like him and he probably acts like him, and he's a mentalist, but he won't be playing again.
I think if they play, sorry to cut you. I think if they play, there's talk that Portugal are going to play with a forward tonight in Eder, who I'm quite a big fan of. He plays for Braga in Portugal, and if you think Adebayor without the level of cuntitude, he's got a bit about him, and he's quite pacey, but he's strong. And the one thing the US are struggling with at the moment is defensive cover. They've got injury worries tonight, and although Brooks got the goal, he's very young and inexperienced. And I think a player of someone like Eder's physical sort of speed and power, he could cause a lot of problems. So if Portugal might not even need to rely on Ronaldo. If they get at the US, they probably will score goals.
Well, if you remember the first 10 minutes of Portugal-Germany, Portugal were all over Germany until Pepe went insane.
Always does.
Or who was it? Was it?
It was the penalty and then Pepe going insane.
Who did Pepe kick?
Müller.
Yeah, or Pepe went insane, or Müller rolled around like he'd been shot. And he
No. Pepe did a Getafe.
Did he?
Yeah. He went and headbutted him and the whole bit. Yeah.
Müller egged it, but even so, you can't do that.
So Dom, it's 1:17 a.m. in Adelaide. Are you still awake?
I'm here, lads.
What time have you got to be up at?
5:15.
You got 4 hours.
We are such
so let's give it over to Dom. Dom, what do you think? Games tonight.
I don't know. I think Portugal might get the job done. I think, like you said, John, United States were a little bit fortunate to probably get the win, but I mean that's the way it goes, isn't it? Yeah, it's what the World Cup's all about, to cause upsets and stuff. Do you guys want any info on Ronaldo's injury? Do you give us stuff?
Yeah. Why is he struggling so much?
Basically, I think that he's got a tendonitis problem in his patella tendon. So basically, I think that he'll play because it's not really at a risk of causing further damage. It's a little bit different to, say, like an Oxlade-Chamberlain injury where he has structural problem to a ligament, which causes the joint to be not as stable. So there is more risk of him going out there and causing further damage, whereas Ronaldo's injury is more just a pain. It's an inflammation of the patella tendon. So I imagine that he'll be getting cortisone injections to sort of numb the pain a little bit, but he's probably just not going to be that comfortable running around out there, and whether he lasts the 90 minutes or not in those types of conditions, I'm not sure. But yeah, the thing is with a team like Portugal with a Ronaldo is they do have some other good players around there, but if their game plan revolves around one player, it makes it pretty easy for the United States to know what's coming, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and just put an extra player or two towards Ronaldo every time Portugal go forward with the ball. So
maybe just try and kick him a little bit and annoy the injury.
And it depends.
Stress him out because he has got a temper on him, isn't he?
And it depends
the US, I think. The US can probably, I think that they'd be quietly confident knowing that Portugal's game plan seems to be go forward and give the ball to Ronaldo. So they don't seem to have. I mean, I'm sure they've got some other talented players running around out there.
Yeah, they do. They're quite good.
My worry.
If you've got 2 or 3 players going towards Ronaldo to stop him, that means someone's got to be free.
My worry will be my worry, just speaking from the US point of view, is where they're going to get where the goals are going to come from. I mean, Dempsey obviously he's almost like much the same like Dom's Australia, and in the Cahill sort of mould, he's a player playing up front who's really an attacking midfielder, and knock him for all you can. Jose Altidore is a lot is hinged on him for the US, and again, much like Eder for Portugal, his direct style and size is what sort of the US play through, and they're likely to start Aaron Johansson tonight, who I rate quite highly. But he's a static centre forward. He's not really going to run in behind people, and unless Dempsey has the game of his life, I would worry about how they're going to create the sort of chances, and the midfield as well. Michael Bradley and Jermaine Jones are the two sort of midfielders.
Yeah, but Kris, you got to remember Fabio Contral's hurt.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Portugal.
And Pepe is not playing due to the red card.
I think the USA's best chance has got because Dempsey stinks like a fishwife. So he stinks of fish. The Portugal defence is not going to want to get too close to him. So
I don't know if we're going to touch on the game that's just upcoming shortly, but Thomas Vermaelen starts for Belgium at left back.
Oh, bless him. Well, round this group off, Germany are going to go through, and hopefully the USA and Portugal will finish rock bottom. But I can probably see USA-Portugal. A draw would be nice, but I'd love to see USA win that. But I think Portugal might just nip it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to come down to whether Germany can be bothered to play against the USA. Maybe they've seen that one of their greatest ever players, manager of the USA, Jurgen the Dive Klinsmann. So they might let him get his team through. But I hope USA go through, but I can see probably Portugal going through. Anyone else?
USA and Germany for me. Germany will win the next game, but I think US will just squeak it, maybe even on goal difference.
John?
I think it's still going to be Germany and Portugal.
Dom?
Yeah, I think Germany, Portugal.
Shame. Okay, last group. This is Group H. H is for helicopter. Next game is today, 5 o'clock, Belgium v Russia, and then 8 o'clock tonight. Oh, good God. South Korea, Algeria. Oh,
you watched that N55 now, you said that.
God, what a horrendous game that is going to be. Some teams that like Japan and Greece and Korea, I don't know why they bother turning up to the World Cup. And Algeria, well, bless them.
You've just killed our Asian audience there, Danny, in one foul swoop.
I think they bloody agree. I love Japan. I used to be a big fan of the J League, but I used to see the J League as slightly above the what's the word I'm looking for when they blossom, when a country gets better at football. I saw Japan and USA is quite similar, and Japan have gone backwards and USA have taken major steps forward. But we don't want to go on about that too much. I've got nothing to say about this group other than I hope just Belgium and probably Russia will go through. That's me done.
Belgium and South Korea for me. I think Belgium will beat Russia in the game that we're just about to watch, and I think the Koreans will beat Algeria. And then I think the Koreans will have enough to draw with Belgium in the last game that will just get them through with Belgium.
Anyone else? John?
I agree with Kris. I think it'll be Belgium, South Korea.
Chris?
Dom?
Dom, that's it. I was going to say, Chris, can you ask Dom?
Belgium, Russia for me, lads.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah. But it's amazing how some groups have got 4 very poor teams. I mean, the Belgium are the new Holland, aren't they? The new Netherlands. I can't say Holland for 41 years, and then just because I'm scared of Ava means I've got to say Netherlands. It's not going to work, is it?
I think Belgium are quite overrated, if I'm honest, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, when I say they're the new Netherlands, because they're 11 players rather than one team.
Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, the talent is undeniable that they have on that team. So,
oh wow, some of the players.
When it clicks, they can beat anybody. So,
might be
on
today.
talent alone.
Might be today.
Well, they've got 2 more games to do it to express themselves. Right, so that's that group done. That was nice and simple because poor old Dom's got to go to bed and then get up 5 minutes later. Kris, you've got a couple of questions from Twitter, haven't you?
Yeah, I was just going to say we'll finish up with a sort of a quick fire round of. There's a couple of questions. Thank you to everyone that sent them in. As you probably appreciate, this has gone longer than we expected, so we haven't really got time for all of them. But there was 2 in particular that I picked out, which I will ask the crew. One of them was from Mark King, which is at MZK90.
I know that's funky.
And he wanted to ask us all if we were buying a right back, defensive midfielder, left winger, and centre forward for Arsenal, obviously, based on the matches of the World Cup so far. Who would be your picks? And you can only spend 25 million and above on one of those.
So there's 4 players.
So basically, I need four names from all of you as to who you would buy.
It'd be quicker if we just had one each.
Okay.
Because we've been an hour and a half already. So you pick who has what.
Well, I'll take the goalkeeper and I'll move him on. I would take David Ospina from Colombia on a free transfer as a goalkeeper.
He's playing in Spain at the moment, isn't he?
He was. In France he was playing at. Yeah, he was playing for Nice, but he's been released. I should stress as well, I'm taking a goalkeeper because me and Dom spoke pre-pod. We don't personally think we need a left winger. We think we got Joel Campbell for that role. So I'm going to slightly change Mark's question and say you've got a goalkeeper, right back, central defensive midfielder and striker. So I'll take Ospina as the goalkeeper.
Oh, I thought you'd have taken right back, and then we'd have had no idea who you were on about.
I think most of us know where the right. We'll give the right back to Dom. Who would you have, Dom?
Well, if you're going based on the World Cup and that's your scouting for the position, you'd have to go with Serge Aurier. I don't think there's been too many other right backs that have been more impressive than what he has. And if it's reported that there's an £8 million bid on offer and that's all it's going to take to get him, then it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Mm. Who would you have for the defensive midfielder, John?
Wow, based on the World Cup.
Yep.
Mm.
The one from Croatia.
Fuck,
my memory eludes me.
I can probably tell you.
No. Excuse me. The guy from Bosnia last night. That was kind of kicking at everybody.
I shall go and have a quick look and pretend that I know anyway. Was it Hadjovic, Lujovic, Misimovic, Salihalovic? Visca.
An itch. He was an itch.
Panic.
I think
but he had
Hadzic.
Hydrovic was the one that stood out for me.
Pjanic.
He was I don't know. He was a defensive midfielder last night, or center midfielder, and he was kicking every player he could get his hands on.
Misimovic.
Besic is the one you're about.
Right,
okay, 7. Yeah. So yeah, if you base it on the World Cup, that'd be my pick.
He's actually German. He's born in Berlin.
He's
21 years old, plays for Ferencváros in...
Ferencváros.
He plays for Furry Backdoors.
Furry Backdoors.
Where are they from? Is that Turkey or is it Greece?
Yeah, Turkish,
and he used to play... He was spent his career at Hamburg. So he's only just recently gone there 2 years ago on a free.
It's a good shout.
12, yeah, John Say kicking. Last season, 25 games, 12 yellows.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my type of player.
He's a nasty little cunt. He's like Flamini in training.
That's my type of player. I love that fucking type of player. Let's get him on.
Can I just chuck in one very quick name just to add to that pot? I've been really impressed with Carlos Sanchez for Colombia as well. Just chuck him in.
Everybody thought that Valencia going down was going to be, and I did as well, was going to be a big blow. But he's kind of, he stepped up and done the job.
Action, yeah, I like him a lot. Danny, who would you have as the striker?
See, there's not much. No one's really scored goals that you're going to be able to buy. I mean, the top goal scorers Benzema and Muller and Robben and Van Persie all on 3. So then you're going to think, well, no one else. Gervinho we've had, we can't have in. Messi won't come. Mandzukic is not really anything special. And Suarez. Suarez is maybe available, but we ain't got 80 million quid and he isn't going to move to Arsenal. So I think I'd like to say maybe Joel Campbell to stay at Arsenal and play more often. That'd be nice.
Sanchez.
So
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh,
So you don't.
He's
You're
a pass.
saying, are you saying you don't want to take Park Chu-young?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Strangely enough, no. But yeah, Alexis Sanchez, he's at Barcelona at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Has there been talk of him on his way, or is he leaving, or is he staying, or?
There's been talk of him moving. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm just going to go and have a look at his. He's 25 years old. He's last season 19 goals in 34 games for Barcelona. Bloody hell, that's not bad, is it? As someone who was, didn't he play wide a lot?
He can
Yeah.
play.
He can
wide.
play anywhere across the front three.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Then I'll have him. Cheers, John.
Well, that answers that one nicely. And skipping along to the other question that I had, which is from a gentleman goes by the name of @CannonTalk, as in TORK. And I've lost his question, so that's brilliant. Well done me. There we go. Most talented / favourite player that you didn't know about before this World Cup. And I'll go to John first.
I'm going to be really lazy and say the same name as the one I chose for the defensive midfielder.
Okay.
Just because I like a tough player. I think that we lack steel in our squad. You know, so I'm looking for players that will bring that, you know, competitiveness and that you know, that nasty attitude that we lack. So yeah, I'll go with the same.
So that's Mohamed Besic in that case then. Dom, who would you go for?
That Valencia striker, I guess.
Enner Valencia for Ecuador.
That's him.
Fair enough. Danny?
I'm going to have to cross to the end. I only really become aware of Rakitic towards the latter half of last season, and especially the UEFA Cup final. And then I didn't realise how good he was. And my friend Herman is Croatian, and I think he mentioned that he was pretty good a couple of times. And I usually just ignore it when he says that because he's biased. But he is. I think that his controlling in the midfield has been fantastic. I just think he's one hell of a player. And how the hell he's 12 goals in 34 games for Sevilla last season in La Liga alone from midfield. I think he's got so much in his box of tricks that I think he's just a hell of a player, and he's not been surprised but just confirmed what a good player he is for me, because I really hadn't until 3 or 4 months ago I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
You?
To finish up, well, go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
I'm really torn between two. There's a defender for Croatia. I can't say it.
David, they're silly names. I've told them before to stop it.
Sime Vrashkalo. Anyway, plays for Genoa. I'm really impressed with him. I just thought he was good on the ball, good sort of defensively. Really liked him. And Ricky Rodriguez, who I mentioned in the last pod, the left back for Switzerland, didn't have his best game the other night, but he's just a gem of a player for Wolfsburg. So I couldn't split it, so I'll call those two.
What were you going to say, John?
Well, I was going to ask everybody kind of to finish up the pod. Your predictions of who's going to win, have they changed from the beginning to now, or still the same?
I forgot we were doing that. It's still the same with me. Germany-Argentina final. With depending on the day, it could go either way. I had it 2-1 Argentina, but with Argentina playing the way they were, I can see Germany. But it's going to be a good final, which will be rare because most World Cup finals are very poor. Anyone else?
Chris?
You're going to love this, John. I'm changing.
Don't say USA.
No, I'm changing. I went with Brazil pre-tournament. I went with Brazil in the last pod. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go for France.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it. If you look at
confidence is there.
The confidence is there. There's no expectation. Players to come in. They don't rely on one or two single players. They've got quality throughout the squad. And their path to the final is potentially quite not straightforward, but it's favourable. So I'll stick my neck on the block and say France.
Dom.
Well, before it started on our predictor league, I had Brazil-Argentina final, so I'm going to stick with that. And I think that if that happens, then there'll be riots and all the stadiums will get burnt to the ground. So
happy days.
Good stuff.
Now we're going to sing Dom a little lullaby to help him drift off to sleep because he's going to get 18 minutes sleep before he's got to be up again.
Absolutely, he's a trooper.
I'm going to be unpleasant tomorrow.
Cheers for staying up, Dom.
That's okay, lads.
And good luck in the final game of the World Cup because I think it's going to be a humdinger.
We don't have Tim Cahill or Bresciano playing, so that's a bit disappointing.
What's up with Cahill?
He's suspended. 2 yellows.
Oh, that's a shame because that would be his last World Cup.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a bummer.
He left a good mark though, didn't he?
He did.
No,
What a way to go out.
Mm.
Unlike the England team. Anyway, are we all done? Shall I wrap this up?
Yes.
Wrap it up.
Right. Thank you very much, lads, for joining us. It's been a right old giggle. It's been half hour longer than we thought, but never mind. I think it's impossible to try and get it any shorter. Anyway, that was a Bergkamp Wonderland World Cup Part 2 special. Nanu nanu, you cheeky monkeys.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Another Arsenal fan outside the Arena Ponte Nuova. No, I can't even say it.
Ponte Nova.
There you are. And you're an Arsenal fan?
I am indeed.
Your name?
Bridget Hand,
And you live in?
Tottenham.
Are you sure?
Born and bred, baby.
Really?
Yeah.
But you're Gooner.
I'm a Gooner, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, my mum's Irish and she came over to London. She first lived in Islington. She always said she was the original, and my big brother would never have let me support anyone else.
Good answer. There's a lot of noise in the background. I think Costa Rica just scored again. And how long are you at the World Cup for then?
I'm in Brazil for 10 days during the World Cup, while I'm in South America for 6 months.
Okay, cool. And you're supporting today?
France, for the Arsenal contingent, obviously.
Yeah. What's your prediction for the game?
3-1 France.
Okay. How many does Giroud score?
1.
1.
Yeah.
Is that Olivier or Johan?
Olivier.
Okay, good.
Although Johan might sneak one.
Home goal?
Potentially. Potentially, yes.
And you're on Twitter?
I am on Twitter, yeah.
What's your Twitter name?
BB_hand. HAND.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
And you too.
I don't even know your name, but I'll ask your name. So I'm inside the stadium now, and I met another Arsenal fan wearing an England top. Just started chatting to him. What's your name and where in London are you from?
My name's Michael and I'm from Heathrow, London.
Okay, and you're a Gooner?
Absolutely, through and through.
And what are you doing here at the World Cup? Which games are you going to? How long are you here for?
Okay, I'm living my dream which I had since 1970 as a 9-year-old, to attend the World Cup when it was next held in Brazil. I'm here for the whole period. I've been here since the 10th of June. I'll be back home on the 19th of July. And I think I've seen about 11 games.
Wow.
Right up to a semi-final. So I've seen Croatia v Brazil, the opening game and ceremony. Fly the following day to Salvador Bahia to see Spain, Holland. Flew the following day to Manaus to see England, Italy. Flew back to Salvador on the 15th, and on the 16th saw Germany v Portugal. And today here I am at Switzerland v France. And I'm not supporting either team, damn it.
Well, why not?
Well, no,
A couple of Gooners for the French.
No. I'm terribly sorry. Whether Wenger is French or not, I'm English through and through, born in England. I'll always support England. That's why I'm wearing my English shirt. And probably, I'm not sure I've seen another English shirt actually. No, I'm not sure I have, but I'm sure there must be one or two around. No, I sure root on those who entertain me. Simple as that. Quality of life is what I want.
But you'll feel a special little something inside you if Giroud scores, won't you?
Giroud? Yeah, of course I will. How could you not ask me that question? Yeah, any of those guys, Gooners, I will. I'll give them the thumbs up.
How do you become a Gooner then?
Had a bit
stupid question. You're North London.
No. I'm not from North London. I'm from South London initially. My father put me in a West Ham kit, which I despise so much, and hence sought to find another team and found Arsenal. But my parents wouldn't let me travel to Arsenal from South London because I was quite a young kid. They said as far as the furthest I could go was Shepherd's Bush. So I ended up supporting QPR when I was an infant. I'd go with my little rattle my headmistress gave me, my hat, my scarf, and the boys would nurture me and look after me in the Loftus Road end. But eventually, as I grew up, I went to the Arsenal.
What was it that changed it then for you?
Arsenal, I loved the banter Arsenal would get, because at the time Arsenal wasn't your most attacking side. We were always very defensive, and but we were a sure side. I like the grittiness of the Arsenal team, and I love red.
Yeah. What do we need this summer then? What do you think we're going to need this summer?
Well, Arsenal will need what they've always needed for a number of years. They need a stalwart in the heart of the midfield. Someone like your Vieira, someone like your Roy Keane, someone that will muck it, someone that will take no prisoners, someone who will kick the rest of the team up the arse when they're not pulling their weight. Arsenal haven't had that for a long time. And in defence, we're getting better in defence, but I still feel we need another central defender to give us cover. And probably someone big, someone with a bit more speed. And up front, of course. But these are players. These are players that we've known we've needed for quite some time. So it's no news to even those who have a little knowledge of football.
Yeah. You've been a Gooner for what, 30 plus years at least. I'm not trying to make you feel old or anything.
You don't have to be.
Who's your idol then? Who's the number one for you throughout the times?
Throughout the time that I've...
difficult question, I know.
It is a very difficult question, and it's an unfair question, because one player doesn't make a team, though one player can influence the team. And surely for Arsenal it has been Henry. It has been Henry, but I've liked other players just as much. You know, Bergkamp, in the middle, your Vieira, Adams, Keown, just a few names, but you know what? There's so many, and they're just all just as good. They've all contributed just as much.
Give me a name that some of the new Arsenal fans won't know then. You've been a Gooner since 1970s. You're saying we weren't playing attacking football then. What was one of your heroes from the 70s and 80s? Give it a young Gooners a name that you don't, that they won't know.
Liam Brady, mate. Liam Brady. I love it. Poetic, artistic left foot. What can I say?
Nice. And for the game today then, Switzerland versus France, what's your prediction? You're neutral, you're kind of hoping for entertainment, but what do you think is going to happen?
I am a neutral, and I simply want to be entertained, but I have the sneaky feeling that France will sneak it. Just through sheer quality. But hell, who knows? You know, we've had some upsets already, so it might not happen.
Alright. Do you use Twitter?
Sometimes.
What's your Twitter handle?
I try to stay off it. In fact, my wife manages my Twitter, so I can't recall it. She manages my Facebook as well.
Okay, dictatorship. Well, we'll find you on there. Okay. Cheers, man.
You're welcome, man.
Okay, this is Norwegian Kris in Salvador, da Bahia, and I'm standing with three Brazilian Arsenal fans. What are your names?
Marcos.
Mateus.
André.
And you're members of Arsenal Brazil. You've got an Arsenal Brazil t-shirt on. You're the members of Arsenal Brazil.
Yes.
Yeah. And what game are we going to see today? What game?
France and Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah. Switzerland. And who do you want to win? Do you want Giroud's Switzerland to win, or do you want Giroud's France to win?
Giroud, France.
From France.
You're half French?
Yes.
So you got...
my dad is from France, and I'm France fans.
Okay.
France supporter.
Yeah. You think they'll do well?
No?
Do you think they'll do well in the World Cup?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know. I hope so.
Quarterfinals, semi-final?
What? I don't know.
The quarters?
Yes.
Okay. And what game have you been to? What games have you been to?
Sorry?
What games have you been to? You've just come from...
Yes, Italy, England.
Yeah.
Today match, Germany, Ghana.
Yeah.
Brazil.
Cameroon.
Nice.
And third match.
Okay. The third place playoff match, yeah.
Yes.
So Alex Song is suspended for the Cameroon-Brazil game, but otherwise you've seen a lot of current Arsenal players. You've seen England, Wilshere.
Yes, Wilshere.
Today you get to see...
Yes, Giroud, Koscielny.
No, Sanya. Who?
Mesut Ozil.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Maybe, yeah. And Mertesacker. Podolski. You get to see.
Balotelli.
Maybe Balotelli.
Maybe Griezmann. Maybe Griezmann.
Griezmann.
Yeah.
Benzema.
No, I don't like Benzema.
No.
No.
You're French.
Yes, but I don't like. I don't like him.
So who are you missing? Which Arsenal players are you missing? Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's injured.
Chesney.
Yeah. At the World Cup. No, Joel Campbell. Costa Rica.
Yeah,
But he's on the TV over there now. So. Joel Campbell.
Costa Rica e Itália.
Yeah. And how many Arsenal games do you go to every season?
3, 4.
3 or 4, all the way from Brazil.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yes.
Living in Norway, I go to 2 or 3 games a season. So and I'm only 2 hours away. So you're doing better than me.
Thank you.
And who's going to win the World Cup then?
I think Germany.
I think Germany.
Yeah?
Germany.
Why?
I think they have the best team.
Yeah. But they've only played 1 game.
Sorry?
They've only played the 1 game so far.
I saw this game.
Against
I'm living
Portugal.
here in Salvador. I saw this game. It's an amazing game.
You were here at the stadium?
Yeah, I saw. It's a Spanish game. I saw too. From here, Salvador. I saw a Spanish game.
Spain against Holland?
Yeah.
Oh, you've been to some great games.
Yeah. Oh, fuck great.
Okay, good. And you're all on Twitter, so we'll find you on Twitter.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Okay, I found another Arsenal fan. Tell me what your name is and where you're from.
My name is Victor, I'm from Sweden.
And why are you an Arsenal fan?
I'm an Arsenal fan just because Fredrik Ljungberg played in Arsenal.
That's a good enough reason.
Yeah, that's good enough. And I love Thierry Henry and David Beckham as well.
What a legendary player Ljungberg was.
Yeah.
And what game are we at?
Now we're going to watch France against Switzerland in Salvador.
Who do you want to win?
France.
Of course.
Giroud!
Okay, outside the stadium here in Salvador with a couple of Canadians, Arsenal fans. What are your names?
James.
Tim. And what are you doing here?
We're just celebrating the World Cup and wearing our Arsenal shirts and hoping to see some Giroud goals. And
do you mean Giroud or Giroud?
Giroud.
The Swiss one or the French one?
Well, not the Swiss one, for fuck's sake.
We're going to see Cinderas and Giroud.
yeah, Giroud. I even forgot he was still playing, right?
How long are you staying here for then? Are you sticking in Salvador? Or?
We were in Salvador since Spain, Holland, and we saw Germany, Portugal. And tomorrow we leave for Recife, and then we're just tracking around, and then we're back in Salvador again. It's a little bit of a mad schedule, yeah.
How many Arsenal players do you get to see then while you're out here?
Good question. We tried to, I don't know how this podcast is censored, but we tried to sing Big Fucking German for Mertesacker next to where they were training pre-match.
Yeah.
No response, but figure that match we saw 3 between him, Özil, and Podolski.
Yeah.
Probably
Cazorla on the bench. I saw him in the warm-up.
And an unexpected one in Joel Campbell. We didn't think they would get through the group, so we're probably going to see them either in Rio and Recife. We're going to the round of 16.
Well, he's on TV now, isn't he? And they're still winning 1-0.
Right,
so
yeah.
He might be going through.
Most unexpected. Unfortunately, not to see England, but
you got Sanya on your Arsenal shirt, on the back of your Arsenal shirt.
I do. Well, I figure it's the last week he's an Arsenal employee, so it's sort of like a girlfriend who's jilted you, but you wish her the best.
Really? You wish her the best?
Well, you got her for £2.
That's and that as well, yeah.
That's always what people say. They wish their ex-girlfriend well, but underneath,
there's something that hurts. Absolutely.
When he comes to the Emirates, what's going to happen with Sanya? Like, small applause, or
I think
depends on the result, maybe.
I think it's split in two. The camp is split in two. Some people say, yeah, let him go, but for me, going to City is.
He's given us his best years, and if he's asking for more than 120 grand a week to play it right back as a backup for City, then best luck to him. I mean, he's not.
One of the best things is that we're supporting France today because they've obviously had Giroud and not Juru. But also Koscielny, hopefully he gets in. But they haven't even brought Nasri, which really makes me think a lot more of the French team.
Yeah, there you are.
Like, absolutely. So.
Most important question though is how do you come to be Arsenal fans?
Well, Tim should answer first because I'm a season ticket, or he's a season ticket holder, but I became a fan sitting in Block 5 with him. And
my father's from North London, and I've lived in London for about 10, 11 years. I managed to get a season ticket about 6 years ago. I live about 10 minutes away from the Emirates. I walked every match. So, yeah.
And I like London, and I travel a lot, and over the years, you know, as soon as we made the FA Cup final, I had to fly over, and we were begging around to get tickets into Wembley, and it turned out to be a classic. Can't believe that was only 1 month ago.
You got tickets?
Well, he got one through the thing, and then we paid 500 quid outside the stadium for the other.
It's worth it.
Well, it wasn't after 8 minutes, but it wasn't at the time. So.
And Twitter, are you on Twitter?
I am. I use it very sparingly, and usually to get Arsenal away tickets.
Okay.
I'm at 12 Days Pub Crawl.
Okay. Are you on Twitter?
I'm not yet. No.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Just like the 11-second North London derby where Arsenal score and score immediately after, the French have done the same. Benzema picks up a loose ball, plays it to number 14, I don't even know who that is. Oh, boot, as they say in French.